Hi there, I'm Mark Harrison, and welcome to Series 2 of the Big Change podcast brought to you by Callisto Grant. In this series, the focus is on leaders and entrepreneurs, people who break the mold and push back barriers to fulfill dreams and ambitions and are successful in their own right. We explore the change catalysts, how to maintain passion, focus and dedication over a long period of time. So my guest today is Lucie Drliczkova. Lucie is the owner of Aconte, a very successful IT company that focuses on web design, programming and teaching. The company is based in Brno, Czech Republic. It was started about 15 years ago when Lucie was in her early 20s. Today we'll be exploring the motivations of a young entrepreneur and what it takes to remain successful. It's my very great honour to introduce Lucie. So good morning, Lucie.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thanks for joining us today. So to kick off then, I'd like to first of all explore the genesis of Aconte, how you kind of got to start the company.
Well, as almost everything in my life, it was like an accident. Because me and my colleague, Jiří Dvořák, we met in our previous employer. And after some time, we realized that we wanted to do things differently. So that was the reason why we started a new company.
Okay, so and where did the idea to work in IT come from?
Oh, that's mainly Jirka's idea or his specialty, because from his education and his business before Aconte, Jirka was always an IT guy. And I always liked IT, and I did websites. So it was like good cooperation.
Okay, right. I think I remember when you and I have spoken before that you started to study the IT at university, and that was sort of where you first kind of came across IT and started having ideas about taking it forward.
Not exactly, because I studied economics at university, but one of the subjects were web design. And I started to do some websites when I was at the university. And when we had this subject, it was quite funny because the teacher there started to teach. And after, let's say, 15 minutes, he realized that I'm more capable with the software than him. So I overtook the lesson. And then, so that my start to teaching, because I really accidentally overtook a lesson from my university teacher. And then I had, I think, 2 or 3 more lessons with web designs instead of him. Okay.
I'm sure your lecturer was very happy to kind of sit back and let you take over. Right? But that was kind of how the notion started then, that you identified you had some talent for this or some passion for this particular area of business, rather than becoming an accountant or an economist.
That's true.
Okay. Would you say that you've always been an outlier, even perhaps at a young age, somebody who was a little bit different
and strange, yeah. All my life, I think that because I love books, really, I love books. As a child, I was always wandering with the book, climbing on the trees with the book, because a book was everywhere with me. Maybe also I always get along better with men than with women.
Okay. So it wasn't all kind of, shall we say, stereotypical playing when you were growing up? Then you much prefer to read and that kind of thing and explore, kind of fantasy worlds of reading and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Karel May, so I preferred to play with guys for cowboys and Indians. That it was better for me than playing with girls with dolls.
Okay, fair enough. And as you were going through your, I don't know, perhaps your adolescence or then into your 20s, were you influenced and inspired by anything or anybody in particular?
I know what many people. First of all, my parents, obviously, because they taught me how not to be afraid of saying what you want to say, what's your opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think that in my entrepreneur life, this is really key to success. If you are afraid, you are not able to do it. You can't.
No, I think that's a good point, isn't it? If you have an instinct or an idea or a vision where you want to go, you've got to go with it, haven't you? And I guess that's the secret of all success, really, is anybody who's famous, who has an idea, they stay with their idea, don't they? Whether it's in business or it's they're a musician or an actor, they have their own very individual style, and that's very much a key to success, would you say? Did you set out to be an entrepreneur, or can you recollect a time when you kind of thought, I don't think I can be an employee, I don't think I can do that kind of corporate thing?
It took me sometimes, few years, I guess, maybe 3. Because when I left school, I was employed in a company, and the company was really great. It started like a small company and it grew really nice. During the growth, I realized that I'm not able to influence the growth. I'm not able to influence the activity and the processes in the company.
So you were starting to feel somewhat frustrated, and you must still been I guess you're in your 20s then still, and so you were starting to feel frustrated and limited in what you could achieve yourself. Is that a fair observation?
Exactly. In that company, definitely.
So you got these sort of various strands forming within your life. You now know that you're good at web design or IT. That's an area that you become very comfortable in. You're an employee, and you're now feeling frustrated that you can't, as you said, influence the growth, and you're starting to question and challenge the decisions being made. So there's a process here now of you moving from that environment to the next bit where you actually where Aconte is starting to form. So how did you go from employee to self-employed status, or your own company? What was the very, very kind of physical or tangible steps that took place from the moment you're now starting to get fed up at work to kicking off on your own?
It was quite easy for me because at that time I worked a lot with Jirka Dvořák, and he established another company many years ago. And at that time he decided to leave the company, and because we really get along together, we have a very good cooperation. Our skills
complemented each other.
Thank you.
Okay.
So he asked me if I wanted to start a new company with him. And my answer was yes.
So that was kind of right moment, right time. Everything was around about the right time. And okay. Now you've got a business partner, which is a great help. You have somebody you can bounce off in terms of ideas, and you can share your hopes and fears and anxieties. Even so, to build a business network takes a lot of efforts, as I know myself, and often unrewarded. So how did you how did you progress from the first, let's say, web design, the first kind of contract that you got? How did you get to the next one, then the next one?
The best marketing tool I always have had is personal recommendation, because everyone has friends or people in his or her surrounding that will need help with websites. So the personal recommendation was best tool for me. And also Jirka Dvořák has a lot of contacts, and he started to recommend our new company and me.
Okay, and I guess 15 years ago, we're talking roughly 15 years ago here, so 2005-ish, where it is a time when websites were probably really coming into their own, and and for smaller companies to have their own website, it was kind of becoming the go-to place, to advertise your products and services. So you were very much at the beginning of what we kind of take for granted today. Hey, I'm going to start my own company, so I want a website, and you can more or less do it yourself, or you can start yourself, I should say. You can. It's not as distant as it was that time ago. So you're. So is it fair to say that you very much identified the way the wind was blowing, the way the world was going, and you were the right person? You had those skills and talents. You could see the business opportunity, and you followed your instincts and went with it. Would that be a fair observation?
Yeah, I think that you told it much better than me.
But even though you mentioned earlier that you have a personal recommendation is the thing, and it is. People are more confident if they can see a track record of success with other clients. And I've worked with you personally for 5 years or more now. My observation of yourself being successful is that you have tremendous empathy and instinct for what clients want. Would you say these attributes are something you've naturally inherited, or you develop them through experience, or maybe a combination of both?
Definitely combination of both, because the reality will teach you a lot of things, a lot of stuff. The first thing that I learned as a web designer is that you need to listen to your client. First thing, the most important, listen to your client. That's the thing. You are able to put him or give him your recommendations, because the client knows his business. When we met, firstly, I had no idea what's credit management. And I have an ING title in economics, but I have no idea. And you explain it to me, and I understand how the things are going. And then I started to think about what we can do for you, what your client can appreciate, what they want on the website. Yeah, and that's a part of my job that I really love, because you need to use your imagination a lot of, and you need to think like the person who wants to help.
Yes, and I think one of the secrets of success in general, and something I've observed with yourself, is that the client doesn't always know the full possibilities of, particularly in this area. Yeah, like myself, I remember asking, so what works? What should a modern website look like? What attracts people's attention? And it's and I think that's where the empathy and the instinct comes in a lot as well. Is you to be able to share that, this is the trend at the moment, and this is how websites look, and so on and so on, rather than just being reactive and saying, well, okay, that's what you want, I'll make it. I think the idea of a long-term relationship is to build trust, and that trust comes from everybody sharing what they want, and sharing each other's experience. I think that customer, I say that I think this is what I want, and you would say, maybe yes, you might want that, but let's do it through this, so it looks like this, or add this, or you don't want too many words, more pictures, or something like that. Yeah, so it's I think that's how good business relationships are formed. I would say that applies whether that's like in the situation of yourself as a running your own business, or whether you're an employee. You share as much experience as you can. So what does the future hold for you, Lucie, Aconte, and probably the tech world at large? There's probably 3 questions in there. So where do you think things are going?
Hopefully sunshine, happiness.
Oh, yes.
I think, or I see as the biggest challenge for Aconte is to transform from a small company to something a little bit bigger. And that's something what we want to work on. And hopefully in the next 5 years, there will be bigger Aconte with more people, with more customers. Also, you can't have more people and no new customers. And personally for me, when we are bigger and have more people, I can go on vacation.
Yes, you can delegate more, I think is what you're saying. And I think there's actually a very valid point in there, that often there's this image of working for yourself that is you have all the time you want. You're your own master, you're your own boss, you can pick and choose your hours. I think you, like myself, I think you'd probably say that's not the case, right? Yes, you can follow your own dreams and your own images and your own creations, but your hours are not necessarily your own. Would you agree with that?
As you said, many people think that when you have your own company, you are your own boss. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. That's not true.
Yeah, it takes. I think this is a very important point when that to kind of let's bust a few myths here. That being an entrepreneur, you actually work probably more hours than you could possibly imagine. I know. You, like many people, you work weekends, you work nights very often, don't you? Long nights and so on. And as you said, the idea of being able to book a holiday 6 months' time and know that you can take that holiday in 6 months' time is still a little bit of a nice notion to have right now. Yeah. Even though you're 15 years a successful businesswoman, it's still. Yeah, your holidays are somewhat reactive. Like, oh, I've got a bit of time now, I can go.
That's more the truth than maybe you think.
No, I fully understand that, and I think that's something that young aspiring people should bear that in mind. That it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes an awful lot of dedication to have the courage to start in the first place. But then to keep going, because it does take a long time, many years, to actually build a platform when you can actually kind of start to delegate to others. And that's not just a couple of years. That's, I think we can safely say, to really get somewhere, it's 10 years or more, isn't it, to really build that business momentum?
Yeah, it is, because people are moving in your company, moving in, moving out. So every time you have someone who is really good, you need to do anything you can to keep him with the company. It's really very important.
That's an important thing. And also the clients come and go as well. You probably build a good relationship with one person in a major organization, and you have a good relationship for some years. And then that person moves to another company and somebody else comes in, and they almost without knowing, that relationship changes or ends, doesn't it? So there's always a volatility in the business relationships you have with customers as well. So you kind of never know what's going to come tomorrow. So you got to build up a big reserve to be safe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Very wise advice there, all of those things. And from that point and looking back from where we are today, what would you advise the 20-year-old Lucie?
Don't be afraid to go to foreign countries. Don't listen to your boyfriend. Go.
Is that what happened to you then? You were young, you had a boyfriend, and you curbed your desire to explore the world before you settled down to business, and then before you know it, you're stuck in you're working the business. Yeah, is that what happened?
Almost. I had a boyfriend. I wanted to go, I think, that to England for a few months. The boyfriend didn't like it, obviously, and wanted to establish home and wanted to work and so on and so on. Well, my boyfriend is long time away, forgotten in the time.
Long time gone. Okay.
Long time gone.
And you still haven't got.
And
to England,
I still
right?
regret that I stood at home yet.
And you haven't got to England yet, I think. There's one of your that must be one of your resolutions for the near future. Then that when we can travel safely, get to the UK, or at least travel beyond home anyway. So, but you've seen plenty of other places. I know you've been to Spain and lots of other over the years. You travelled extensively. I know that. So
well, not as much as I wanted, because the problem when you have your own company, you can't go for month. Yeah, and I think that a month that's the time when you are able really to get know the place and the people and the culture. Now it's more like few days in Spain and few days in Italy and few days anywhere. Mm-hmm. But it's not really like to know the culture.
Yes, your definition of that kind of holiday then is really as you said, quite a long period of time to really unwind and explore something different without kind of thinking in a few days I'm back at work again. It's a different kind of break. Okay. I think one other thing I'd like to ask you, obviously, we've mentioned a few times now that you work long hours and you're very focused and what you do is very intense. You spend most of the time when you're working on a keyboard and that kind of thing. What do you do? What do you do for relaxation when you're not working? What's your main thing that takes you away from the workspace?
For the last 2 years, definitely it's dancing of Caribbean dances. I love that.
Okay.
Few years before this, it was baking cakes. But I must say dancing is more healthy.
Well, yeah, and I think the important thing, and perhaps the message of that kind of thing, is it's important to actually go somewhere else as well, isn't it? And probably a very pertinent message right now when we're working from home. All our entertainment is largely through computers or television screens and so on. So it's important to actually step out, and be in a different environment and find something to do that really takes you away from. Engage your brain in something very, very different. Yeah,
some activity that allows you really to switch off. Yeah, you need to fully focus on something else, so your brain can be empty of your day-to-day things in the work, and then it works like a beautiful relax.
There you go. I think that's a great place to finish, Lucie. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. There's a lot of things we've covered in the last half an hour or so that will be of great interest and value to a lot of people, and you are going to inspire many people to do something different, I think. So thank you very much indeed. Good luck and best wishes for continued success.
Thank you very much for invitation. It was a pleasure.